In today's video, I am going to give you 5 fantastic basketball defense drills. Let's get down, let's check these out. They can work with every age of basketball team. Okay, so first we're going to have a defense line and an offense line. And then what we're going to have is the first player from each line. They're going to run up and run around each one of these pylons. At this time, the coach is going to pass one of those players the ball, and generally speaking, I would always start with just the exact same line, and then later on you would switch lines. For example, we could run through each player getting an offensive possession 2 or 3 times, and then we would switch to the left line. Of course, once you're finished with the right line, you would go in the back of the left, and when you're finished with the left line, you'd go in the back of the right. Coach would then pass player 3 the ball, and then what we would have is player 3 going up against player 3 red, one-on-one, trying to attack the basket. At a younger age group, you can let them take 2 bounces. At an older age group, you can limit it to just 1 bounce. That way we really work on our footwork ability. Of course, only 1 shot, and after they make that shot, they go in the back of the opposite line as to where they started. We could even start working on our actual footwork out on the perimeter. For example, here, what we can have is player 5, he's going to be running up to the pylon, and player 1 will be doing the exact same thing. We would then have player 5 backpedal out towards this pylon over here, and that is when we would have player 5 receive that ball. Meanwhile, player 1 is going to be sprinting across trying to stop player 5. Player 5 would then loop around that pylon and try to attack the basket. So that now player 5 is attacking that basket, and player 1 would have ran around both of these pylons, and then he can slide in between these to try and stop player 5. Again, at the younger age group, we can have 2 or 3 dribbles. At an older age group, we would try to limit this to 1 dribble so that we can then really work on our footwork ability. Make sure to go check out all of my practice plans down in the description below. And then you can continue to add on to this same exact drill. For example, we can set up a double pylon here where we can then again still have player 5 and 1 sprint up to those pylons, and then again same idea where player 5 then pops out to that wing. The coach would then pass him the ball. You don't necessarily have to have this pylon here, we can just have them pop out to the wing, and then when he receives that ball and gets the defender to guard him, pass the ball back to the coach, and then cut to the rim using that double pylon as a screen. You could even have another coach set up there as well as a screen. It's totally up to you. And then the coach would then pass back to player 5 to score. Now, of course, we are learning offensive skills here, but we want our defensive player to try and figure out how are they able to defend that screen. We want to see if they can actually be physical to try to cut off player 5's ability to use this screen, in which case we can then teach our players to cut back door, and again, same idea, or to try to fight over top of the screen. Remember to push their hips out to try to fight through so that they can stay with player 5. Now, this is obviously teaching a lot of different defense skills when it comes to the one-on-one game. Now, in this next play, what we're going to have is the coach. He's going to be out on the wing, and then we're going to have 2 lines, 1 offensive and 1 defensive line. The offensive line is going to be passing up to the coach, and then player 5 is going to be sprinting up with player 4 following. The coach is then going to do a dribble handoff with player 5, and now we really want to see player 4 trying to fight through this screen by pushing their hips forward and to try and defend that screen. Try to fight through. If they can fight through, then we'll be all set. However, if they cheat and they try to cut off that screen, we want to see player 5 attack the basket back door and see how well player 4 can keep up. The whole main idea here is to, of course, teach our team how to use a screen or a dribble handoff, but also how to defend a dribble handoff as well. When it comes to defensive drills, I really want to teach the offensive side as well as the defensive side, because we're going to be coming up against obviously both of those strategies when it comes to games. My personal team runs a lot of screens off of the 5-out, but also we get to play against a lot of screens as well. So because of that, we really want to practice both sides, and really we want to emphasize the defense because that's going to be really the most important part of our drills. Now, surprisingly enough, this is a drill that I actually have not ran with my team yet this year so far, but it actually is surprising. I usually run this with every single team that I coach. However, one-on-one rebounds, where we'll have the defensive player and the offensive player, and the defensive player is going to be boxing out player 5, and I'll take a shot as a coach, and then I really want to see the defensive player get that ball. If the offensive player gets that ball, defensive player does 5 push-ups. However, before that happens, if that offensive player gets that ball and scores, that's another 5 push-ups for the defense. You can also run it where instead of doing push-ups, let's say you're not the type of coach who likes to have their team do push-ups, squats, running, things like that, then at that point in time, what you can have as a coach is 1 team versus 2 team, and then you can have a little bit of a competition, see who can be the defensive rebounding kings. And then, of course, if the defense wins or loses, it doesn't necessarily matter, then the other team turns into the defensive rebounders, and you can continue to fight through like that. I hope that this video helps your team win more games. If it does, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.